Hi friends, how are you? We will discuss the framing of WH questions today in our session. Framing of WH questions is a very important and interesting task in learning English. This is a question for SSC public examinations for 10th class students. This is the question I like the most because this question tests the real knowledge of English language, and it is also very easier for the students if you know it well, if you study it well, if you observe it well, you can get 10 marks easily, like in mathematics. So here we will see how. Let us take a paragraph from our supplementary reader, because this question is asked from supplementary reader, the footprints without feet. We have taken a paragraph from the first lesson, that is the triumph of surgery. The Triumph of Surgery is a story that is about a dog, pet dog, and this story is narrated by a veterinary doctor, James Alfred White. So we know the background and the story about story of it, so that we can easily answer. So see, let us come to the paragraph, framing of questions. We will read the paragraph first. I was really worried about Tricky. I had pulled up my car when I saw him in the street, and I was shocked at his appearance. He had become hugely fat, like a bloated sausage with a leg at each corner. His eyes bloodshot and roomy, and his tongue lolled from his eyes. This is the paragraph, and the phrases written in red are the hints for making a question. For example, let us take the first one. I was really worried about Tricky. So Tricky is underlined here, marked here. That means the answer for your question should be tricky. So that means you should remove the word tricky from the question. Your question should not contain tricky. So the remaining part of the sentence you can use freely in your question. So my sincere suggestion for the Telugu medium students is to understand the meaning. Think in your mother tongue and select the appropriate question word: who, what, why, where, how long, how far, etc. We discussed this question clearly, vividly in our one of our previous lessons. So here I was really worried about Tricky. The narrator or the author was really worried about Tricky. So Tricky is an animal, so or a person. You can consider him as a person. So the question word should be who. The remaining part is an easier one. The auxiliary here, it is used in the main auxiliary is was. Who was? We know that in questions, in interrogative sentences, the verb auxiliary comes before the subject. Here the subject. Who was I? You can write, of course. It is you are given marks, but if you know who I is, it is better for you. Here the I is the narrator or the author or the writer. Or if you know that the veterinary doctor, or even if you know it very well, you can write the name of the doctor, White or James Alfred White, like that. So now let us take him as the narrator. Who was I means the narrator. Who was the narrator? Worried about, really worried about. Who was the narrator really worried about? This is the first question. So the answer is the narrator was really worried about Tricky. So Tricky is the answer. So our question should not contain Tricky. You can use all the words except Tricky in your question. Come to the next one. I had pulled up my car when I saw him in the street. When I saw him in the street is the answer. So your question should not contain this phrase. When I saw him in the street. So when I saw him in the street, so it indicates the time of incidents. So time. So how do we question time? When? The remaining is unknown to us. When. The auxiliary used here is had. When had. You can use the I or the narrator. When had the narrator. When had the narrator pulled up his car, not my car, because we use the narrator for I. If it is I, we use the pronoun my, possessive pronoun my, but here we used the narrator, so we use his car. When had the narrator pulled up his car, or when had he pulled up his car, because we already used the narrator here. You can also use when had he or the narrator pulled up his car. The third one is when I was shocked, at his appearance. This phrase should not contain your question. I was shocked at his appearance. So at his appearance, shocked. The narrator was shocked. So why was he shocked? You can ask, or you can ask him it as what was he shocked at? What? I was shocked. Was is the auxiliary here. So what was he shocked at? What was she shocked at? Or you can also write as why was he shocked. Generally we don't use why here. Of course it is not incorrect. You can also use, but it is more appropriate. What was he shocked at? Next one, he had become hugely fat like a bloated sausage with a leg at each corner. So this part we cannot use in our question. So the remaining part is he had become hugely fat like the conjunction here used. So like means it is a comparison or a description. So you can use the question word how, and see the auxiliary here had. How had, and he you can use how had he become. So he had become like a bloated sausage, like that. How had he become? Come to the last one. His eyes bloodshot and rheumy. So in fact it is his eyes were bloodshot and rheumy, but here is it is an addition. His eyes, the description of eyes. So his eyes bloodshot and rheumy. So your question should not contain bloodshot and rheumy. So we can easily say that how were his eyes? How were his eyes? In fact, This is a relative pronoun, that is, it describes, it gives additional information about his eyes. If you put in it in a sentence form, his eyes were bloodshot and roomy. So you can make question like this: how were his eyes? These are the questions we can make from this paragraph. Friends, I think you understood well about framing questions. If you practice well, take number of passages from your textbook with your supplementary reader, with the help of your teachers, and frame as many number of questions as possible. Get it corrected by your teacher. By practice, you can easily get 10 marks out of 10 marks, and it will be a big scoring question for you. Thank you, friends. We will meet in our next video. Until then, have a good time. I think you are all enjoying my videos. If you enjoyed this video also, please like it, share it, and if you are watching my channel for the first time, please subscribe it. Have a great day.